You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, we're having Facebook trouble again, guys. So we'll be on YouTube today, and then I'll post this later today on Facebook. You can catch it, but I think Zuckerberg has it out for me. We have Richie Haratine here. He's going to talk about the performance coming up in about 10 days, a musical, Esther, which is a great book in the Bible. We're going to talk about his background. We're going to talk about what he's done. You're going to need the mic pretty close, buddy. Of course, you're an actor. You know how to project, right?
Yeah, I should be pretty good.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah.
But
I don't mind enhancement.
Josh, what's going on with Facebook, huh?
Don't look at me, man.
Okay, fine. You know, it is what it is. Live podcasting is a great thing. So, but anyway, this will be posted again later this afternoon when I get back home. Anyway, we're going to talk about the play. We're going to talk about the musical background. We're going to talk about his background. Some of y'all remember my shows with Stormy Barrett. She's associated with this. She's your stage manager, right?
That's right.
And keeps her busy, keeps her out of trouble. You know, she's Stormy is a part of our little B&I group, and lots of energy. I don't know how she does it all, to tell you the truth. Yeah. So we're going to run over the sponsors real quick. Now, are you native to the Burleson area by any chance?
Nope.
Have you spent much time here at all? Okay,
no,
then these are all
I've been
new.
in Arlington for 16 years, but I'm from out of state.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, so these are probably new to y'all, but not new to our listening audience or watching audience. Our Place Restaurant. This is a local dive. I don't know if Otto would call it a dive, but it's probably the best breakfast place in town and lunch. And there's 4 of them. There's one in Mansfield. There's one right down the street from here, about 2 blocks, and then there's one in Cleveland. And Otto, the owner, is an amazing guy. And our place is a great restaurant. And he also owns this particular pizza joint, Gina's Pizza, which the pizza's great. But what I also like about it is the ambiance, as they say. You know, they have blues music going on in the background and all this. And the pizza's good. It's like a old Chicago place where he's from. So Gina's Pizza is a great place. And also Otto's a great community sponsor, so that it makes it even better. Also, our friends, Pro Roofing here in town, 817-734-2756 will give you John Williams, and it's time to check your roof out before the weather gets bad. I don't think it's supposed to get bad anytime in the next 10 days or so, but you never know. Plus, the fact is, get ready for storm season in March and April and May. You want to make sure your roof's in good shape. So call John at 817-734-2756. The Pro folks are right here in town. They're about a block from City Hall, so you're dealing with local folks. Also, speaking of local folks, the Wethington Agency, our buddy Jeff Kelly, 817-781-0546. Or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. He can buy and sell land all over Johnson County, and he knows where the land is and where the homes are. He has several that are listed. So if you're looking to move into this area somewhere, he can help you out with that. And he's very pleasant. You spend a lot of time with a real estate agent when you're buying a house, so you want to have a decent company at least. We'll do the nonprofits at the end. We have several, actually, including our friends at Next Step have a request of the neighborhood. But let's talk about you, Mr. You said you're from out of state, Mr. Haratine. Where you from?
Florida. Yeah, originally from Florida. All my family's still there. Bunch of family out there. And, I grew up on the water, just right off the Gulf Coast.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, my wife
Lots of
and
fishing.
I have been there. Haven't been there in a while, but we used to go to St. Petersburg. Is that you're near the area?
Very familiar with St. Pete.
Yeah. It's nice. All those pink hotels they call them, big sandstone. We stayed in those.
Yeah, that whole area, the St. Pete, Bradenton, Sarasota, Tampa area it's beautiful. It was great growing up near the water like that. Yeah, fishing a lot in the water a lot.
So,
loved it.
So what brings you to Texas then?
Well, I have 4 kids, 4 boys, and my now, unfortunately, my ex-wife is, her family all lives here. We moved here because of the boys, because we had our first child and we were getting stir crazy. We were living in Chicago and getting a little stir crazy. And I was like, we need to move somewhere where there's family, either my family or your family. And we chose to come here, and all her family's here. All her family's here. So I didn't imagine I'd be living in Texas ever.
Right.
I've passed through Texas plenty of times. I've lived on the East Coast and the West Coast and everywhere in between the United States, all over the place. And Texas was usually just a spot that I kind of would get through. And but her family brought me here, and we after that had 3 more boys.
And it's become home, right?
And we're here. Yeah, I've been here 16. I've been here almost 17 years now, and acclimated pretty well. Though there's still a lot of things I miss about I like scenery. I like the water. I like things like that.
Scenery.
I know.
We got a coast.
Yeah, one of the funniest things about moving here was growing up fishing. Most of my childhood fishing on boats and fishing for big game fish. And then coming here, and everyone got all real riled up and excited about catching bluegill or bass. And I saw it, and I would try not to be snooty about it. But you hook up on a nice 3-4 pound bass, and they get all jazzed and excited. I'm like, yeah, well, that's bait.
All right.
In Florida, on the water, you take that's just something you throw out for bait. And so I've acclimated well, though. I've come to see it as also a.
Well, my wife has family in Gainesville also, so all around that Gainesville area, and we'd go visit, and we went to both Atlantic and Gulf Coast beaches. My wife is much more of a beach person than I am, but there you go. So you come out here, and your profession is you're an actor as well as a producer, a director, whatever else. I mean, you do local productions, I suppose.
Since I've been here, since I've lived in Texas, I worked with TCU a little bit. They had a Shakespeare festival that they did for about 12 years. I worked with them for most of that. My training, my background is largely in performance, so classical performance for the stage, live theater, and my passion or my love, one of the things I love the most is good, strong classical language, like the use of words and language and good stories. And Shakespeare did a pretty decent job. I think most people. Right. I think most people would agree he did a decent job in the English language. And so I spent time doing that for good, solid 9-10 years.
So you were in Shakespearean performances
every year. They had a summer festival that they did. I've done most of almost.
What's your favorite role?
That's a tough one.
All right. Well, among your favorites.
Sure, yeah. Master Ford in Merry Wives of Windsor is a lesser-known play and a lesser-known character, but it's a comedy. It's comical. It's fun. I lean towards comedy, though I don't mind playing a straight man or a leading man. And then playing Macbeth. I had the opportunity to play Macbeth, and so those are two very different Shakespearean roles, but super. I mean, who doesn't want to? What kid or what guy doesn't want to get on stage and get to swing a big sword around?
I guess that's
night
true.
after night after night, and we did. Well, we nearly cut each other up too. It was fun, though. We had a good time.
When I was in high school, I had advanced English class and had a Shakespeare elective, so I read like 11 plays that year. Yep. And I really enjoyed most of them. There's a couple, I guess you had to be there kind of comedies, As You Like It was, okay, fine.
As You Like It.
Yeah, or Midsummer Night's Dream. I thought that was a little silly, but my favorite was Richard III. And another one I really enjoyed was, I did enjoy Macbeth quite a bit. Hamlet. These are all standard readings, but I think probably the one I liked the most was, I'm trying to remember, it is the one, it's probably Henry IV, Part 2. Henry IV, when he talks about, or Henry V, I'm sorry, Henry V is what I'm talking about, the great St. Crispin's Day speech, right?
St. Crispin's,
so that's
a classic. That's it's a great speech.
I thought, this isn't so bad. And we saw the film, this is how long ago we saw Olivier's film.
You saw Olivier. I was going to ask which one. There's a few of them out there.
The other one I've seen is Branagh's.
Branaugh.
Yeah, but as far as, but this is 1979, so we didn't have any of that, of course. So we had the film of Olivier, and So anyway, getting off the topic here.
Sure,
but anyway.
No, that's right on topic. That's great. I love it.
So, are you performing in this as well?
No, I'm not performing in this. This is a strictly directorial. My job is to make sure this show comes off, looks good, it's sharp, it's clean, all the bells and whistles, the story's told well, and I'm just in charge of making sure that all comes out. I'm basically organizing and painting pictures on the stage and make sure when the audience comes that they have a great time and follow the story. That's
it's very addicting. I mean, I my limitations in acting is basically very, very slim. I mean, teacher skits, for the students at the end of the year and that kind of stuff. And but even that, I could see why people really get the bug.
It is a bug. That's that's the right word for it. I think that if you either do it and you get when you do it, you kind of, there's just something about Now sometimes people get into it for strange reasons, and it can be therapy for them, or it can be they're interested in making they want to be famous, and it's important to weed those folks out early, or at least have a good conversation with them about what they're doing, because as a teacher I also teach drama and film. It's important to talk with them through, okay, I know you say you love doing this and you want to continue to do this, but let's talk about the why and what you're up to here.
I don't even know if I'd be able to define that, because it is addicting. When I was a teacher and all, at the end of the year we'd have like the teacher talent show, and I do. I'm a terrible, terrible singer, but my band were usually former and current students that were good. I wanted them to sound good, so we didn't sound like a parody. But I get up there and I'd sing something from Ozzy Osbourne or U2 or whatever, And I remember the first time I did it, I'm up there grooving. I'm thinking, I sound pretty good, and then I heard myself on tape, and I'm like, my Lord, that's awful. Yeah. So I didn't take myself seriously, but I wanted them to sound good, and they did. But it's like, I want to do this again.
Sure, man. Yeah.
It's like, whoa, it's great. And as far as like school productions, in high school and stuff, I never did anything like that. Yeah. But, should I have? I kind of wish I had sometimes, but that's just, but also a lot of people don't realize how unstable the acting life can be, right?
Yeah, no, that's a really good topic, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I had it. Well, it's really my mom's cousin, but it's second cousin. And when I was in high school and college, he was out in California trying to be an actor, and he would be, an extra on a pilot, or he'd be he was an extra on a Friday night TV show called Fridays. He was like one of the cast, not the main cast, but kind of like one of those spare bodies or whatever. Yeah. This is the same crew that produced Michael Richards and Larry David, and that whole Seinfeld creation. And so we'd say, hey, that's him on TV. But after a while, he got tired of it and became a Dallas cop. Like his dad was. Yeah. Because he got tired of, the long periods of time of not working.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a different beast. And then comparing that to live entertainment, live theater is the ball game there is it's a different skill set. It's also, the work that you do. Live theater just simply doesn't, it hasn't for a long, long time been a very supportive, like lucrative job. You're going to have a second or third job in order to make that happen.
Everybody thinks it's going to be like Broadway or something like that.
There is exactly. There is that 0.2%, 0.05%, whatever the number is, where you can actually make a living. You're a live Broadway actor who's got a gig for a contract for 5 years, or you're touring you're doing the national tour of Wicked or Lion King. You're doing those shows, and you're set, and you're able to pay rent.
Right.
You're able to take care of business, but that's just such a small number of artists or people who are performers. And so a lot of them end up like myself, 2 degrees later, 8-9 years of study. I'm teaching. I teach drama and I teach theater to people.
Well, you got to make a living, right?
That's right.
You got to pay the bills.
Yeah, exactly right. And I know it, and it's good. I mean, and I enjoy it. But my first love, of course, is going to be acting and directing, and now I'm trying to find a way to support locals with.
I thought if I were going to be an actor, I'd rather be a stage actor than like a movie actor. For one basic reason is I like the continuity of the stage as opposed to when you make a film. People don't start off at the beginning and film it to the end. You make it. You film all the scenes, of course, in one location, then you film in these location, and then you put it together, right?
Sure.
Well, with the stage, it's a little different, right? It's kind of like a continuous experience for the actor, and that's probably what I would prefer.
I love that. Yeah, I'm sort of the same way. I mean, I don't mind if I trust the director. If it's a film and I'm doing if it's a film or a short bit on screen or video, I don't mind it I don't mind it as long as I know the director and I can trust the director, because ultimately the scenes that they shoot in whatever order they shoot them in and whatever location they shoot them in, it's all going to basically make its way into an editing room with an editor, a director, and they're going to cut and splice and take the takes they want and put them next to the other cuts they like and don't like. Right. And that's it. The theater is you rehearse, and then when the lights come up and you're the actor, you're on the stage, it's pretty much from beginning to end. That thing's going to go, and you just ride that wave, and it's kind of on you.
I would find it hard as an actor, particularly if you're going to be filming piecemeal like that, like you do in a movie, to sustain the character.
Yeah,
and have I guess professional actors can do this, but I couldn't. I was like, if I'm a character in a movie and I'm acted one way, and then okay, we're going to change locations, whatever, and I got to be that same guy.
That's right.
In the same mindset.
It's a marathon. Yeah, you could compare it to maybe one. A film might be more of a sprint. Like you go, you're sitting in your trailer for 4 hours, and then it's like you're on, and now you're off. Boom, you go out there and you got to nail it. Boom, 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 in the moment, right now, and then you're done.
Right.
And then you go sit for another 5 hours or the next day. Right. In the theater, you're right. When the lights come up and when they go down, it's a marathon, and you are there, and you've got a lot. Depending on how large your role is, you've got to lock it in and be there for the entire run of the show. Stamina is the word. Stamina is the word.
Do you spend a lot of time in New York?
Before I was married, I spent about 2.5, 3 years in and out of New York touring. I was touring with the National Shakespeare Company for a while, for 2 years, give or take. But then I was young and I had just moved there. It's too expensive to live in New York, honestly. So I was couch surfing or staying on a friend's or relative's couch, living there, paying a little money for electricity or what have you. And then I would get a job touring around the country, going from coast to coast, doing Shakespeare. And that was a dream. I felt like a rock star when I was doing that. I really did.
So
I can't tell you. The touring?
Yeah.
I sure do. Yeah, and I'm in the process of trying to reestablish some things like that with the company that I'm starting.
Well, let's talk about the company. This Parable Company, is this your company?
It's mine.
Okay. Josh, do we have their logo, do we? I believe we do. You sent it to us. The Parable Company. That's a good name because is this Parable Company that does these productions, is it almost all biblically oriented productions?
That's a good question. Not necessarily.
Okay.
I love the scriptures. I love a good story. And I also love fictional stories. Right. So I have a passion, like I already said. I have a passion for the Shakespeare's works, and even the Greeks, the ancient Greeks. Some of the classics.
Oh, I've read some of that in school too. Antigone and that kind of stuff, and really exciting stuff. I'm telling you.
So the Parable Company, the company that I'm working on, I'm very eager to tell stories that are biblical. Absolutely, but I am not. There is absolutely no limit to the material that I'd like. Now, there's a ceiling. I shouldn't say there's no limit.
Okay.
There's a kind of story that I'm interested in telling. There's a kind of thematically and what's in the story, what kind of characters are being shared, those types of things. But strictly speaking, it is. I'm looking for new work by Christian artists or non-Christian artists, but who are willing to, you can check out the website. The website has all the basics and kind of what undergirds what we do at theparablecompany.org.
Okay, we'll jump on that in just a minute. But so what I'm hearing from you is that it's kind of like those movies my wife watches on TV. They're all, good moral stories, not necessarily, directly biblical, but they have an undertone of Christian value, I guess, and virtues and such. Even if
virtues, that's the right.
Even if it's not particularly oriented towards Scripture, you could tell that they take great pains to not to deviate from that.
Yeah,
of course, I always tease her about the similarity of the plots, but
Yeah, and there's a lot, and the nature of the story also, for me, at least having spent about 35 years in the theater, being in, telling stories, reading stories, and presenting stories that may have particular, the thrust of the story is meant to either teach or share a particular idea. I want to be thoughtful about that. I want to be careful about that because there's a lot of really, really good plays. They're well structured. They're well organized. The plot and the storyline and the characters, it just moves and it cooks and it's great. But the message is just no good.
Right.
And I need to be thoughtful about that because I've been in plenty of those shows and I don't. I can admire and I can appreciate the skills that I believe God has given a man or a woman to write a really powerful story. Even though when I read the story, the message that's resonating is just so far from what I think is pleasing to the Lord.
Right.
So does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So navigating that and making sure that the stories that are being produced by the Parable Company are above board and we're clear. I like to say, I don't want to necessarily borrow from the culture. I want to build something that is established and has standards that are God standards. So God has, I think, by and large, some clear definitions of what is beautiful and what is good and what is true.
Well, you could tell a lot of good stories that are scripturally oriented without deriving directly like Esther does. I'm saying that, there's a lot of ways to tell the story, and there's, these faith-based movies are now becoming very, very prominent, and they're a lot better produced and better acted. I remember as a kid they had those kind of movies, and I thought, pretty corny. And it wasn't that really, the production values weren't very good and whatnot. But now it's like Christian music was when I was a kid. That's when Christian rock and roll started, and not all of it was very good. They said, but now it's so much better.
That's a great. I love that. That's another key element. So it's not just the themes and the types of stories you're telling. It's also the quality and the production value of what you're doing. That it's also done excellent. It's done well. It's done creatively, and that you mentioned it might be a little. I could toss words around like it's kind of kitschy.
Yeah, it was hokey.
It's kind of hokey. It's silly. It's maybe it's overly sentimental.
Right.
It's almost a little bit like schlock, or it's really like it's pop culture-y. It's it's just kind of faddish, and those things come and go, and they come and go, and so I want to be sensitive to those particular things because I think. From beginning to end, when you pick the story and then the people that you involve in telling that story and then the way that you shape and build that story to present to a local community, all of it is under God, it's under Christ. And so I want to make sure that as I'm building and doing that through every step of the way, I'm at least, and I'm not going to get it right all the time. I'm just going to continue to lean in, and my aim is to make sure that all the people that are involved and all the artists and the technicians that are involved are clear about the mission and the vision of why this story and how we're going to tell this story and the excellence with which we tell that story, and also the community that we're developing is important. Yeah.
Well, also the secular world, if you will, they would not take Christian music or Christian films seriously back in my day or back in the 80s and such because the quality wasn't there. And then, but the music started getting better about the 80s, and the films started getting better about the 90s, I think. When people thought of religious films, they were thinking like, the Ten Commandments or the greatest story ever told, But now you're having movies that really resonate with the Christian community a lot better because that's my experience as opposed to I'm watching a story about Charlton Heston or whatever. And so I can relate to that. I mean, the first movie I've seen in that vein, I thought, well, that was pretty well done. It was Kirk Cameron's movie, Fireproof. I thought that was pretty decently done. Yeah. And I remember he came to our church to promote it. He's not as big as I thought he was. I'm bigger than he is. So
Kirk? Yeah.
He's not a big fan. But
the camera does a lot to you.
Yeah. But, but I've seen some others. My wife really likes them. And what I liked now what they do in certain movies is it's like, they talk like we do in the sense that they drop reference to God and Christ casually as opposed to making it the focus of the movie. It's like, this is normal conversation.
Right.
When
That's right.
people, around me in my life and a lot of it, they talk about anything, for us to drop a reference to the Lord is like, that's how we speak. And they do that a lot better now than they used to.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you got the other side where they portray Christians as hypocrites or perverts or whatever else. And I think they're trying to undercut what we're trying to do here, but
that's true. That's true, and I think that's that's also a little bit of that can be a little bit of a battle too. When you see those things on TV, I was watching a movie the other day with one of my boys, and he, they were suggesting and talking about a Christian minister in a really, really rough way, and we just got to have a great conversation, like does that seem fair to you? Does that seem true to you? When we're looking at that, what do you think of that? And by and large, at least in secular culture, religion by and large is presented in a very cookie cutter, two-dimensional way. They're not treating a person of faith as though there's somebody who's thought through and cares about what they believe and why they believe it. They're kind of just presenting them as kind of a stereotypical two-dimensional cardboard cutout, and they make them just all evil, or the other person is all good. And so it's good to wrestle through and.
Well, also they'll show us uneducated or ignorant, or superstitious, or
silly,
whatever,
or backwards, or all that.
But that's been a long time.
Which, to be fair, can actually be an accurate description sometimes. But just to be like across the board, like that's just that's what you can expect when you run into a Christian. I think that's just.
Well,
that's just silly. I don't think that's short-sighted, and it's not very thoughtful.
Well, it's like. I guess what the point I'm trying to get to is that I like the fact that some of these movies now acknowledge that there are people of faith in our society, and they it's something they do every day. It's a daily thing with them. They're living their faith, and they just show it, and it's really not even the point of the show or the movie. It's just like a side character.
That's good. Yeah.
So it's getting better.
Yeah, that's
and you hear more secular artists, if you will. Who's usually yelling out there in the hallway? No, we got several businesses here.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have. Now I lost my train of thought. Anyway, no, we have a lot more secular artists doing Christian-oriented music, you might say. And I don't think it's really strictly for the money. I think a lot of it is because the level of acceptance. They may not have felt accepted before.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about Esther itself. I've teach a Sunday school class with another fellow. And so I do the Old Testament, he does the New, and I did Book Esther. And I've said this in my Sunday school class many times. One of my biggest pet peeves about society is how they try to portray the Christian faith or the Bible as anti-woman, anti-feminist, whatever else. And Ruth and Esther both are rebuttals to that ridiculous charge, particularly, Esther. And it's a great story.
Absolutely.
And as far as musical, who wrote this?
Barb McDonald wrote this.
Okay.
And this was
it says right there at the bottom.
Barb right McDonald, there in the print there. Yep. She wrote this several years ago, and it actually was mounted in 2023. And I think the plan was that would be it. They'd show it once, but then Barb and her husband Al decided and thought that it would be behoove them and also the people to see it again, because it is addressing particular themes, Jewish culture, the Jewish people, and also it's scripture, so it's never going to be. It doesn't necessarily go out of date.
One of the things I pulled out of Esther is that this is a theme that you see over and over again in Scripture: is that the people you would think who could be the prominent characters, the heroes, whatever else, often tend to be overlooked. David was overlooked, and so was Gideon and these others, but here in Esther, was a woman, and she was basically married off to the king of Persia, and even in that circumstance, God used her for basically the salvation of the Jews, because if you recall the story of Esther out there in a vast listening audience, the king's mind was turned against the Jews by a fellow named Haman, and that. There was going to be some very significant, nasty repercussions on the Jewish population in Persia. This is during the exile period, and Esther was able to use her influence to prevent that.
That's right.
And so God had put her there for that.
Absolutely.
So that's what I pulled out of Esther.
Yeah. He loves it. Yeah, I think that God, from beginning to end, he loved. There's always a bit of an underdog, or a bit of a. That person who may have been least likely,
or same
all
thing.
Of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, Ruth is one. Well, and then you look at Christ himself. I mean, he was born, in basically a barn, right? And
or the disciples who were all just basic tradesmen. They were just blue collar guys, not super well educated. Just and those are the men who basically God said, now you're going to start the. You're going to be the beginning of the church,
right? Well, and that's
and here we are, over 2,000 years later. Things have gone pretty well.
Well, it's a great story also about being willing to be used by God. You know, Esther was willing to be used, and so was her cousin Mordecai. You know, they were willing to be used, and and even when disaster was about to hit the Jewish people in Persia, they were able to use God's ability to intervene to that and prevent that from happening. I guess is the best way I want to put it. So this is a musical, right? So Ms. McDonald, she wrote all the music as well?
No, she did not. Most all the songs are going to be not original songs. Are going to be either worship songs or contemporary songs or older songs that they actually did have to acquire the rights to. Yeah. So it's all music. Most of the music in the show you'll recognize.
Well, I figured there'd be some I don't hymns, I get for lack of a better word, but there'd be some of the familiar music of the Christian faith, but
few of those.
But also you're talking about stuff that was not just written in the back in the Reformation days. You're talking about some stuff more contemporary,
right? 1950s, 60s, some newer songs.
So what would the style? Really?
It's considered a jukebox musical, which just means we take the playwright reading through the script. I say the script, I mean the scriptures, the Old Testament book of Esther, read through, and basically, in each particular moment or scene or scenario was found herself compelled or was reminded of a particular song in time and in history where she thought might be a suitable song to address that moment. And because it's called jukebox musical largely because there's not really any there's no organization as far as where it's a type of music. It's kind of all bets are off. We're going to use a song that seems appropriate or at least touches on a theme or an idea about that scene. So it could be Bye Bye Blackbird, right? Or it could be a contemporary worship song. Whatever it is, it's supposed to lend. It's meant to lend itself to that moment or that in that scene.
Is that Bye Bye Blackbird in this musical?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay,
I mentioned it a couple of times. Yeah, it's in there. That's one that people might know.
That's interesting. So
there's some other ones, but
so the style of music. I mean, the orchestration isn't just strings and whatever. It's gonna. You probably have guitar, you have bass.
We have an 8-piece orchestra. It's live orchestra right on the stage, and so it's not just plunking on a piano or anything like that. We're gonna get into it,
and you have the costuming and the whole 9 yards. How is this funded? I mean, because I know the tickets, which. By the way, let's go ahead and make sure we do this at least once. It's at February 13th and 14th. What a great Valentine's Day gift, right? At Coppell Art Center. And you can get the tickets by calling 972-304-7047. That is 972-304-7047. Also on your webpage, which we'll show in a minute, it has a link to that. But tickets, I know, only cover some of the cost. So how else are y'all funded?
Yep. JEM, or the Journey Evangelistic Ministries, that is Barb and Al McDonald's ministry, and they are the producers of this production.
Now, you're a nonprofit organization.
That's correct.
Right? And so any donation is a tax deductible if that's important.
That's right.
But so this is not a for-profit theater company.
No. No, whatever money now JEM is not necessarily a theater company. They are a ministry. They're a local Christian ministry, and I was brought in as a director from the Parable Company, and they are the producers of this production. This is their baby, and they brought me in as a member of the Parable Company to direct it and make it happen. But both of our ministries, Journey Evangelistic Ministries and the Parable Company, are both ministries that are nonprofit. And they're just basically supported by donors and volunteers and people who are interested in financially supporting or otherwise those particular ministries. But I will add, they're both very different ministries when you look them up. JEM is one, and the Parable Company are two very different ministries.
Well, Josh, you pop up the website on Parable, please. It's interesting because, I don't know. I always think of these things as a one-off kind of thing. You do a play and then, you go back to your real life. But this is something that y'all do all the time.
Oh, this is,
Every story for His glory. That's a good
like that?
Yeah, it's a good motto. As good as good as any. But it's but basically, this is something that goes on year round. Are you doing other things right now as well?
I have 2 other shows that are in the hopper that we're going to get going. Now, of course, though the work that I'm doing and my board that we're putting together, it's the shows that I choose to do are shows that I dream that I would like to do, but I also have to pay attention to where we're at financially.
Sure.
So I think as a nonprofit, I can dream big, and I have a lot of things I'd like to do. And what I'll do, once I announce the next couple shows we're going to do, then it's just basically invitations to people. Say, is this something that you'd like to support or be a part of?
Can you tell us what these others are? You want to keep that to yourself right now?
Well, one of them is going to be a one-man show, Peter. And
you Peter?
That'll be me.
No, rock and roll.
It'll be a production. The plan is to have that thing ready to rock and roll and actually tour around in the next several months, which would be you could bring it into if you have a community center, a church, a local theater that can house a one-man show. It's like a 60 to 75 minute show. It'll require little lights, little sound, little set. I'll bring the costumes. It'll be kind of a packaged thing that I'll bring in. That's the plan. And but it's not. But it costs money to put it together.
Sure it does.
And so I'm in the process of memorizing it and getting it ready to go. It's a passion of mine, and I'm excited to do it. And so, my company and I my board members and I just had a sit down a little bit ago, and we're just sort of chopping it up and figuring out how to make that happen. So that's the next one on deck. And then I've got a couple others that are more larger scale. One of them is based on the life of St. Augustine. It's about his life, and it's largely it's a new play. It'll be a play co-written by me and a partner, basically outlining and using the Confessions. If people are familiar with St. Augustine's Confessions,
I've read excerpts in college, but it's not lately. No,
but it's an interesting story because it unpacks. He really didn't hold back. When I read through that the first time I read through that, the Confessions, it's so personal, it's so deep, it's so rich, and it's got so many different wrinkles and warts. It's warts and all. Augustine was a guy who he lived a long time ago, but he was a man who wrestled with the same things we wrestle with.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So that's one. The other one I really like, and I've been trying to toy around with, is Babette's Feast.
I've heard of that, but I'm not familiar with it.
Great story.
All right.
So, and I could go down a long list of shows that I'd like to do, but we're moving forward with wisdom and prayer and reaching out to people, see who wants to be a part of it.
This Parable Company, does it have its own company of actors, or you do it just per?
I'm in the process of building those.
Yeah, okay.
Like, for instance, I worked with The Promise that just got relocated to Willow Park.
Right.
Quick plug for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're a great company. They do a great job. I know Stormy's already probably...
She's been on here twice to promote it. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll promote them too.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
And
everybody from the top down, it's just a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
The Promise. And so, but while I was working with The Promise, and the director and everybody else, I'm starting my own also theater company. And so I was busy. I was acting in the show, and I was also basically.
What was your role?
I played, I think it was Caiaphas.
Oh,
I played,
boy.
No, it wasn't Caiaphas. Well, not the Caiaphas. I was a, not Caiaphas. I don't know why I just said that. I was one of the guys who was taking attendance when Mary and Joseph came into Bethlehem. So I was one of those guys. Got to play a meanie.
Yeah.
No, not a pleasant man. I got to scream and yell and kick things around a little bit.
Yeah, it's good.
And then and basically chorus and have a good time. But mostly just being a part of a community like that and working with people like that. So I worked with them, and then I cast Esther. And so you asked about, do I have a company of actors? I'm slowly acquiring and seeing who might be a good fit to work with regularly. The Parable Company.
Well, here's the cast of characters here for this particular production.
Right. That's them. So a lot of these folks, I'm already like thinking down the road, like they could play, one of them could play this role or this role in another show.
Well, these are trained actors, I'm sure, but they probably have a day job, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So it would be, that's the other tricky thing about mounting it is wanting to pay my actors. Being able to afford to pay actors a living wage is a massive challenge. Though it's a big dream and a goal of mine to be able to do that.
Sure.
That if they signed on for a month and a half to work with me, that they could actually commit to a month and a half of working with me.
Yeah. Right.
Financially.
Right.
And that's a pretty big ask and a pretty big dream, but that's also something down the road I'd love to see. So
See, the lead play of Esther is Julia I can't. The screen has got
Hornock Johnson.
Hornock Johnson. I was getting all the glare off the
Yeah,
screen. Julia Hornock Johnson. I'm trying to. Who's Mordecai? Tracy Jordan, Heyman, Matt Shank.
Skank. Matt Skank. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And if you'll notice, some of these folks. So Zeresh is Heyman's wife, and I've got Andrea, who's Matt's wife.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a great fit there. And they've got a bunch. If you look down, you'll see some of their kids in the show.
Yeah.
But they all have been working in music and performing for a long time.
Yeah,
I see
for a while. So 3 or 4 of those gangs there.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't sound right, did it? I bet they've heard it more than once.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then these are just other local performers that when I sent out the audition form online and just kind of spread our wings and see who was interested, and these are the folks that we were able to bring along. Now, this production is. The Lord just dropped this one in my lap because the plan was to actually do Peter first. And then I was praying about it, thinking about it, and then all of a sudden I got a call from Allard McDonald, and they said, hey, we'd like to talk with you about possibly doing Esther. So this project it's a beast. Yeah. And I'm having a blast, and I think most of the other actors are as well. But this was, talking about blessing and gift from the Lord. Having the opportunity to do this show with JEM, Allard McDonald, has been a real blessing because I've learned a great deal working with them.
So somebody sees this, hopefully somebody sees this show.
Come on out.
Not just for, be an audience, but if they wanted to, get into this, get the acting bug, but I'm sure there's got to be some process. You can't say, hey, sure, grab a costume, let's go. You want to make sure that they have enough talent at least to get on the stage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be, if you go on the website, there's a way to follow, there's a way to get an email, there's a way to, and once you do that and you get into my database, you're going to get an email about auditions. And when you get called into audition, that's going to be a screening process for me, right? And it might be an online audition, or it might be a digital submission where you have to submit it, or I might have you come in and read and sing and move, and we'll see how it goes.
Do they have to sing?
Not necessarily, because I'm not always going to be doing musicals.
Well, I'm, like I said, I'm a terrible singer, but
that's all right.
The thing, this is weird. Yeah. This is kind of a side note also, is that, I never really saw myself in acting. You know what one of the biggest obstacles was I think I could perform on the stage or perform when the film was running. I'd be terrible at the table read because, you have to, really get into the emotions and all this. And I'm I'm very uncomfortable. If, there's all sitting around a table.
Sure.
And I've seen video clips of people go through table read and they're, they're emoting like they were going to be on the screen. And it's just, I don't know if I could do that. Even would be comfortable doing that.
Yeah. If it came down to that, I would say I'm sure you'd be just fine. And I would just if I was directing a show and I brought you in to read around the table, my first comment would be like, all right, everybody, let's just let it all hang out. This isn't performance day where we got a long ways to go. Just give it what you got. Throw on the table what you throw on the table, and we just want to hear these words out loud. Well, we just want to hear them out loud. Let's work it through. Let's hear what you got.
I saw a clip on YouTube about the last table read for Game of Thrones, and and they were filming.
It's so fun. We can see those little the behind the scenes.
Right, and they were the scene they were filming during the table read is I don't know if you've seen Game of Thrones.
A few episodes, not a lot, but enough.
I saw some of them. At the very end when one of the protagonists dies, Daenerys or whatever her name is. He gets killed by Jon Snow, and they were bawling around the table. I'm like, I don't know if I could connect with an emotion like that because I know it's not the film isn't running.
Yeah, so. And before you're even in your costume, you're on set, and you have a time to do it. Yeah, the table reads are an interesting beast as well as auditions. Auditions and table reads are such a abstract kind of like abnormal environment to try to work the craft. You're doing something, but it's in such a weird an audition is basically get up in front of me for a minute and a half and show me what you got for a minute and a half. Do a scene and do a song. Go. Yeah. Like it's just so weird. It's like it's just bizarre. It's way out of context. You're singing a song that's got nothing to do with the and then a table read is similar because it's like you're sitting around a kind of a sterile environment, a bunch of like fold up tables, and you're just basically like called to perform.
Right.
Yeah, I try to diffuse that pretty quick and just say, let's just hear these words. Well, let's just hear the words. Let's just do it.
That'd be the toughest part about acting to me is continually having to connect with some sort of emotional core, I guess, and portray the character consistently over a course of time. Anyway,
Yeah.
I do have a couple of nonprofits, and then we'll let you finish off. I like to have the last word, but I want to make sure I get these nonprofits in. We got a bunch going on in February, as always. Which one are you going to do first, Josh? Just throw them up there. Okay.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, well, that was this morning, wasn't it?
Oh, that was this one.
Sorry.
Let's do this one.
All right, yes. The Chamber of Commerce has their showcase on February 21st over at Pathway Church. We only have two places to perform these kind of things here, Pathway Church and my church, First Baptist. You do your peers show, we'd have the facilities for that. We could do that. It has the lighting, has the sound equipment. It's got some pretty good setup. And Pathway does too.
Excellent.
So I don't know, maybe the time will come. But 10 o'clock to 2 p.m., February 21st. If you want to have a table, sign up with Melissa and Candace at the Chamber of Commerce page. It's no charge to attend. There'll be food trucks. I do this. So I'm in a networking group, and we do this. And it's one of the very best things we do in terms of our personal group. And it's the same networking group Stormy's in, and she'll be there, I'm sure. Or she may be there on her own capacity in her own business. So who knows? Anyway, February 21st, so put that on your schedule. What else we got, Josh? I believe we have. Yes, the free diapers. All right. If you need diapers, you need to call Next Step Women's Center. Next Step Women's Center is, it used to be called the Pregnancy Aid Society, but now it's a Pregnancy Aid Center. I know what they do is, for women that need help with their pregnancies and with their newborns, it's a place here in town. It's one of the best nonprofits in town. And so if you need to make an appointment for some free diapers, because they go through a bunch, they went through 196,000 diapers last year. That's a bunch. Of course, you'll go through 5 a day when you got like a child, right? But anyway, so make an appointment between February 9th and the 13th. So call 817-295-4101. That's 817-295-4101. And if you're a parent of a child that's still in diapers, that's a huge expense, obviously. So they're doing a big diaper drive at Next Step, and they want to be able to provide diapers for all the women that. And they also do a lot of parenting classes for the young men as well. It's not just for the young girls, and it's amazing. Not just we think of pregnancy aid is necessary. It's like a teenage girl kind of thing. It spans the age group of childbearing women. They have clients in their 30s and such, a bunch actually, because either there's some issue involved, not a medical issue normally, but financial issue primarily, or support issue, and they're there to help them support their children and get them what they need. So it's a great group. And I think there's one more, is there not? Yes. The Center for ASD is going to have a breakfast. This is the Autism Society. They here, the Center for ASD is for the autistic spectrum. Their clients are. And again, they go from like 12 to 60. And I don't know any other community that has this, but at 8:30 to 10 o'clock, February 12th, they're going to have a breakfast there. And, there's going to be an ask, as is common and customary, but it's rooted in community. So Lisa Bolton House would appreciate your attendance. That's going to be a week from Thursday. So put that in the schedule, and we'll be talking about it on the rest of the shows. I think this is the last show of the week. But we're going to have a couple shows next week. And then, Josh, aren't y'all taking like a week off in February?
That's correct.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Nashville.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
All right. All right. Mr. Haratine, why don't you finish this off? Tell us everything we need to know. Where to get tickets, what to buy, expect, the whole 9 yards.
Great. So I'll start with the show, of course. We have this show, this production of Esther, produced by Journey Evangelistic Ministries and the Parable Company. February 13th and 14th, that's Valentine's Day weekend. So that's coming up, 10 days. It's a Friday and Saturday. We have 3 shows. A Friday performance is at 7:30. The Saturday performance is at 12:30 and 7:30. Yeah, come on out. It's obviously the Book of Esther from the Old Testament. We're bringing music to the stage. We're still telling the story as clearly as we can. And if you're interested in, if you're not familiar with the story, please come check it out. And if you are familiar with the story, please come check it out. And if you like live theater, if you like live entertainment, you like gathering together, and you're looking for a fun weekend, I would highly recommend it. And there's great restaurants and places like that around the Capel Arts Center, right near that area.
Oh yeah,
you can come early, or even if you see the matinee, there's some fun spots just to walk around, and hopefully the weather sits tight.
Supposedly it is.
So
it's not going to have another ice storm.
Honestly, there's just no. If you're looking for a Valentine's Day like Valentine's Day treat to go do something, this is it, honestly. Because you can grab dinner and then come see a show.
How many shows are you doing?
We're only doing 3.
Okay, so
this is
Friday night, Saturday afternoon?
That's right. That's it. So come check it out. And as the director of the show, I'm really excited. A lot of the actors are putting in some great work. It's going to be a great show. And the Capella Arts Center is a beautiful theater that's housed the show really, really well. So come check it out. Tickets are actually moving. So I would, if you're going to come see it, get your tickets.
That's good.
Because I think Friday is close to gone.
Really?
Saturday matinee. Saturday night we still have some tickets. So I would say come check it out. But definitely check the website out and or call.
Well, I can tell you right now, Saturday night on Valentine's Day, if you think about getting a restaurant reservation and you haven't gotten it already, you can forget it. So this is a good way to spend your time.
Yeah, if you missed the reservation, you got a show you can go. Maybe just eat something at home, then come see a show.
There you go.
And then what I would say, in closing, is if this kind of theater, if you want to see more stuff like this, more theater like this, if you want to. If you're looking to impact community locally, DFW and then beyond, that's a Christian faith-based organization that is telling great stories that are beautiful, they're good, they're true, they're God-honoring, and they're actually, I guess the word is safe and strong to come watch.
Right.
And you're not going to be scared like, am I going to get something jammed down my throat that's some new agenda going on?
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to lift up the things that I know to be true and good and beautiful according to the Lord. That's the main thing I'm after. And so if you're interested in supporting that, the website, the Parable Company website, you can either, we're tax exempt organization or 501c3, all set, ready to rock. And we'd love for you to partner with us either by volunteering your time or by supporting us financially. Everyone knows the story, knows the drill.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to start producing more and more and more locally. But obviously, in order to do that, we need support. So,
well, next time you're on the show, you can talk about your show, Peter, but you're going to have to be a little bit more outgoing. Yeah, I had to really, you have to be more outgoing. I had to really pull it
Not
out of you.
Right. That's the first time I've got that one before. You just like chill out, man.
Oh, no, I was being facetious. Okay, it's like, because I very rarely.
Yeah, usually people just tell me to pipe down.
It's just the nature of the profession. Stormy's the same way. I'm like, okay, splash some water on her to calm her down, stuff like that. So it's just a part of the job, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Josh. And we'll be putting this on the Facebook page as soon as they quit being so cotton picking difficult. This happened yesterday too, and so we're going to try to figure out what's going on with this bunch. But anyway, we'll be on next week. I'll let y'all know what the schedule is this weekend because I got one show I'm thinking about on Monday, but if that falls through, then it'll be Tuesday, be the first show. Okay. And it'll be the Burleson Opportunity Fund. And then we'll see about that. All right. Thank you, Richie.
You got it. Thank you. Appreciate it, Brad.